Because a lot of you guys think that just because you haven't gone through something, that invalidates everybody else's experience. A lot of you guys think that because you haven't gone through something yet, because you got the world figured out at 28, you got the world figured out at 35, you got the world figured out at even 45. Go look up the statistics on a great divorce, a divorce after 50. Come talk to me. Have conversations with people who have been with their maybe high school sweetheart, or people who got married right at 18 as soon as they got out of high school and maybe started college. Or maybe they got married at 22 right out of college. Talk to somebody who has been with someone that long, only to find themselves now going through a divorce and having divorce papers dropped on them at 60, 65 years old. Then you realize again, a lot of you fools are out there like the doggone Atlanta Falcons. You sit there counting all the victories. You already getting ready to pop the bubbly, get the champagne going, and not realizing that Tom Brady still got the ball one more time. A lot of you fools are no different than the Seattle Seahawks. You think you got every play up under control and you're just going to run the clock out till death. You think, all right, we're going to run this clock out because we made it. Me and my girl, I'm going to live happily ever after. My girl's good, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Yep. And you idiot, you don't realize that you are just like Pete Carroll. And it only takes one bad play that gets called, where you should have done this. You should have just ran the ball like you always have done in the past, but you want to get fancy because it ain't going to happen to me. And you drop back the pass and you don't realize that it's going to get picked and go the other way. It would even be different if that was just, okay, it's a tie game. But no, it's going to be picked and it's going to cost you the championship. And the championship is that successful marriage that you always thought you were going to have. And that's what this video is about. It is the loss. It is that Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, and all the other great players that were on that Seattle team that thought, we're going to win. It's the Atlanta Falcons that you have this big lead because you look at what you built. You thought you built. Meaning, and when I say you built, that doesn't negate any efforts by the wife. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, you built, if you were the proper leader in your home, you look at everything that you built only to watch it leave and you lose. Now, in the context of this channel, when I say you lose, there's still much more life to be had. And in many cases, it's far better and happier, perhaps on the other side. But it is at least admitting that there is a loss. And when you can at least admit that there's a loss, that's when I can tell you, congratulations. So what's the congratulations? Well, the congratulations is that you survived. And now you get to, we talk about, that was kind of something in the recalibration stage. Now you get into the chance that you get it to reform. You get to rebuild before you get to thrive. And so now you're going to have to get things together. And you deal with the fact that you've had this loss. For me, I grieved about my loss. I mean, I knew my marriage was going to end approximately 8 years before it did. And so I went through that whole grieving period while I'm in it. Nobody else knew, but I knew. And so even though I tried to relay that to the kids that, things are going to probably be a little different. And I started making decisions understanding that that was likely going to take place. I'm a scenario planner, so it's not a black and white issue for me. That's not how I operate. It's more of a, okay, this is the scenario. There's a 70% likelihood here, a 20% likelihood there, and a 10% likelihood. And as time went on, I just watched the scenario shift, and I had a plan of action regardless of how the scenario went. And I'm glad I did. And that's the part that for some of you, I can say, congratulations. You might operate the same way, and you can recover out of this. You can recover financially. You can recover maybe even some friendships that may have been damaged or lost or whatever for the people that you may have that have taken sides. And it's going to be a lot harder to recover maybe some things with your children, depending on the type of father you were. And, you all know, again, children see their father through the eyes, the lens of the mother. So to be honest, the fact if you were the one that filed on mom, or if mom even filed on you, and she still became the sympathetic victim, then you can't beat that, and you're just going to have to go through that. Sorry, I wish there was another way, something else I can tell you, but there's nothing. Well, these flies beginning to love my nice juicy sweat, that's for sure. And so you're just going to have to go through that. But as I experienced with one of my sons, and I've told him, and I think I might have shared this before, the goal is for God to allow me to live just as it has been with my oldest son. That I am so thankful God has allowed me to live to see him grow up to be a man, and long enough in order for him to see me as a man. And for a lot of you, depending on the age of your kids, I'm going to be honest, it might not matter whether your kids are in their 20s or whether they're 12. The fact of the matter is they are dealing with the loss that happened for them as well. And so your 20-year-old might be dealing with this the same way that a 12-year-old might be dealing with it. You might think like, yeah, but you're older. Don't you understand? You may be married, or you may have a girlfriend or boyfriend, or, you're dating, you living your life, might have moved out. But they're still suffering from that loss in the family as well. And kids have a very interesting dynamic, because on one end it's, Dad, I do what I want to do, but you don't tell me what to do, but I still have expectations about what you're supposed to do. And as another friend of mine reminded me earlier, he said, Dev, man, yes, our kids would rather see us miserable as long as mom and daddy are still together, no matter how old they are. And I always say that's until they probably go ahead and get married themselves, or until they start having marital problems. And so the kids are going through their struggles with it. And yes, we have to understand that. But here's the other congratulations part. Your kids and your friends and everyone that you're involved with have to also be able to see you as a man. And part of seeing you as a man is seeing you as a man that conquers and moves on to that thriving stage. Part of seeing you as a man is seeing that you are a man, that you live your life because there are no do-overs. Now, unless maybe you believe in reincarnation, maybe you believe that after this is it. Most of the people that I know, they would say, well, we believe after this, then it's the judgment and you're gone. So you don't get any do-overs. So then the question becomes, well, if you truly believe in your theological position that after you die, there is no coming back, this is it, then why in the world would you want me to live the rest of my life as if I have time to get things right a second time? But nobody thinks of it that way. Why? Because again, they're only speaking from where they are at. They don't want to experience loss. And so you are a consequence of that. I want you to hurt so I don't have to experience a loss. Or again, as I said, with some of the older people that you may end up talking to that have experienced this previously. Or you might even somebody your age. They might have had parents divorced. They don't want that to be triggered in them. Nobody wants any kind of discomfort.